Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Destructicon, and for today's video I'll be reviewing Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. Mechanicus is a turn-based strategy/tactics game by Bulwark Studios and publisher Casido Games. In Mechanicus, you control a group of tech priests and soldiers of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the technological-focused branch of the Imperium of Man. You are tasked with investigating a Necron tomb world. Mechanicus takes clear inspiration from XCOM, but branches out in new and interesting ways to deliver its vision of the genre. Similar to XCOM, you have a choice between several missions, which will grant a variety of rewards and unlock other missions. The first innovation and difference, however, comes from the awakening meter and the pacing it imposes. Taking inspiration from the 40k lore, the awakening meter represents the progress that the tomb world is making towards fully activating all Necrons on the planet. On an individual mission level, it grants the Necrons increasingly powerful bonuses, such as extra reinforcements and faster repairs. On the campaign level, this encourages you to finish missions as quickly and efficiently as possible, as the awakening level left after a mission is added to the total awakening of the planet. This adds a great element of risk-reward, forcing the players to weigh in the benefits of exploring and gathering more resources against increasingly more numerous foes and overall quicker awakening. And also this puts the player on a hard clock, as the final mission will start after the awakening meter is full. The second gameplay departure comes in the form of cognition points. In essence, cognition points represent the total action pool available across all of your troops. Certain actions, such as calling down troops and moving outside a soldier's natural bounds, costs cognition points. This can give a player lots of options in terms of movement and what weapons can be used, but it must be carefully managed. If you go all in with all your cognition points on one soldier, you might not have enough to reposition your other troops or use their most powerful weapons, adding another element of risk-reward. The missions are broken down into two segments. The exploration phase, where you move your troops from room to room, making certain decisions along the way based on your discoveries. Exploration here can reward the player with extra resources, cognition, or initiative. Initiative determines which faction will move and fire first. The wrong choice, however, can lead to your troops taking damage, losing cognition or initiative, or worse still, raising the awakening meter. The second segment of missions is the combat section, where you can position, move and control your troops similar to XCOM. One tactical consideration to keep in mind is that the concept of cover has been reworked. You no longer have sections of partial or full cover, such as ledges or pillars from XCOM. Instead, walls and pillars will actually block line of sight completely, affecting both you and the enemy in terms of angles of fire. Thus, approaching any piece of terrain takes on a new dynamic. Do you advance forward quickly in an effort to blitz your enemy while risking the health of your troops? Or do you weave in and out of combat slowly and meticulously, doing damage and then retreating behind line of sight? Outside of missions, you can use the resources you've accrued to customize your troops. You have two ways to go about this. First, through discipline trees, which will allow you to specialize your troops in many different aspects of warfare, such as melee, ranged, mobility, resource gathering, support, etc. Investing points in the discipline tree also unlocks more augmentation slots, allowing your troops to carry more and advanced gear, such as better weapons, energy shields, healing devices, and more. In terms of overall quality, the game is quite good. The graphics, while not outstanding, are crisp and clean. The environments all look good and have plenty of variety to them, so you can really tell when you're moving from one part of the tomb world to the other. The soldiers and enemy models all look very well done, and you can really appreciate the attention to detail when you zoom in to survey a heavily customized tech priest, or to notice the detail on a particularly imposing Necron. The game also sounds very good, from the clicks and clanks of your troops, to the alien sounds of the Necron, and the foreboding vibe of the tomb worlds. There are also a few small touches which can be appreciated, such as the fact that the Adeptus Mechanicus don't talk in English. Instead, communication is done via Technolinguis, a special technological language developed by the Adeptus Mechanicus. This serves to underline almost how alien they have become from the rest of the human race. Lastly, the game is very stable. I have not had a single crash on it, and the only issues I've encountered was an isolated texture tear and sometimes troops being unable to move from room to room in exploration mode. Nothing which was too serious and couldn't be overcome by a quick restart of the game. Unfortunately, the biggest downside of the game is how short and linear it is. Mechanicus only has one campaign and no difficulty slider. And while the game does start out hard, it gets easier as you progress, which, while giving the player a sense of strength, does somewhat kill replayability. You can go back and replay it to discover more secrets or make different story choices, but apart from that, there isn't much reason to go back. Overall though, Mechanicus is still a very enjoyable game in the turn-based tactics genre, bringing a whole slew of new changes, which clearly distinguish it from XCOM. And at a fair price, and with no abusive microtransactions, this is a very easy game to recommend to lovers of strategy games as a whole. I hope you've enjoyed this video. See you next time!